With the unofficial title the Father of Ventura County and a lifetime of hard work and success, it comes as no surprise that William Dewey Hobson's children also earned notable positions in Ventura commerce and community. W.D.'s sons, Abram Lincoln and William Arthur, began their own successful paths in business in their teens when W.D. recruited them to help run the slaughterhouse and meat store he purchased in 1876. By 1881, they had expanded the business into a local butchering empire and were operating 4 profitable stores. In 1882, Abe purchased the business from W.D. and continued its expansion with his brother Will. In 1885, the sons changed the name to Hobson Brothers Meatpacking Company. On the home front, in June of 1889, Abram Lincoln Hobson married a local schoolteacher, Helen Denny Bernard. Just 2 months later, his brother William Arthur Hobson also married a local schoolteacher, Effie Sargent. In 1894, Abe and Helen had 3 children, only one of whom reached adulthood. Their daughter Grace was born in 1892 and would live until 1968. Will and Effie had just one child in 1890. Her name was Edith May. Will was now focused primarily on livestock and meat business. The brothers purchased livestock from local ranchers to supply their meat markets, but they also raised their own cattle and sheep on local lands they managed. In the 1890s, the brothers leased the 8,000-acre Taylor Ranch and purchased the 5,000-acre Callis Ranch adjoining it. For many years, the Hobson brothers had a virtual monopoly on Ventura's meat business. With an eye on discovering oil in Ventura, they used their excellent reputations with the local banks to purchase property together. The brothers purchased real estate in the Central Coast and all the way to San Diego County. Ever divested in their holdings and ventures, Will and Abe were among the leading street paving contractors of the West. The 2 brothers handled large road and infrastructure contracts in several cities, including the building of sewer systems for Salt Lake City, Utah. In the early 1900s, the brothers' businesses and community presence continued to grow. Abe built 2 homes in the style of the times, one on Ventura Avenue and the other in Ojai. The Ojai home would later become Ojai City Hall. In the spring of 1910, Will, Effie, and Edith Hobson took a trip to Italy, and Will was inspired by his love of driving and the beautiful roadways there. Upon returning home, Will led a local movement to build a causeway between Ventura and Santa Barbara called the Rincon Parkway. Prior to its completion in 1913, northbound travelers would need to wait for low tide to gain access to points north of Ventura. Will also largely funded the survey for the Maricopa Highway, now referred to as the 33 Freeway, which would open 2 decades later in 1933. Will's civic interests continued to grow. He was appointed president of the Chamber of Commerce, and he created the first Landmarks Committee with a goal to preserve the past. In 1913, Will was appointed Grand Marshal and Chairman of the 4th of July opening parade and celebration of the new Ventura County Courthouse, now Ventura City Hall at California and Poli Streets. Will was almost single-handedly responsible for organizing the long weekend celebration. On July 4, 1913, more than 15,000 people came from all over Southern California to participate, and virtually every Ventura County city official joined in the celebration. In silver-appointed regalia, Will led the parade on a beautiful black stallion known as Walter H. Shortly after this successful 4th of July event and his 48th birthday, Will was a passenger in a tragic automobile accident. He was unconscious when he was brought back to Ventura and admitted to Bard Hospital, where he died of respiratory paralysis on July 20, 1913, making William Arthur Hobson the county's first auto fatality. The family and community as a whole were shocked. The day after his passing, at the opening session of the Superior Court on July 21st, Judge Robert M. Clark dedicated the first meeting in the new courthouse to the memory of his valued friend, William A. Hobson. In 1914, a young man who worked with Will and Abe in their meat markets for years, Walter H. Hoffman, asked Will's daughter, Edith, to marry him. A few short years later, in 1917, Abe's daughter, Grace, would agree to marry Fred W. Smith. From this point forward, the Hobsons, Hoffmans, and Smiths were business partners as well as family members. An excellent example of their community focus occurred in 1917, when the Hobsons and Hoffmans donated a generous amount of their lands to the county in order to expand Foster Park. During that same year, Abe purchased the Red Rock property to create an exclusive neighborhood called Hobson Heights, which boasted wonderful views of the city and consisted solely of Spanish-styled architecture. Abe became the primary founding member of the county's first park-type cemetery when he created Ivy Lawn and had his brother Will relocated there. Ventura in the 1920s was bursting with rapid growth and prosperity with the discovery of oil. The Hobson-Hoffman-Smith families were a very public part of the city's proud petroleum discovery, and with their Ventura Avenue oil field, there would be more successes to come. Throughout the 1920s, Abe served as the Ventura County Fair president. The entire family was quite involved in the county fair. In 1923, just beside the original wooden meatpacking house, a modern Spanish Revival packing house was built on Santa Clara Street. This structure still stands today as a historical landmark and currently is home to Patagonia, the outdoor clothing and gear company. Abe appreciated Spanish architecture so much that he renovated the Ojai Craftsman-style bungalow with a Spanish Revival exterior and named it Sierra de la Vista. This building would eventually be donated to the city of Ojai, and it currently serves as City Hall. The tight bond of family, business, community service, and pageantry participation prepared them for their next success, the oil discovery at Coast Ranch. As co-investors back in 1896, Abe and Will purchased small pieces of land with the dream of discovering oil. Though it took 35 years, oil was eventually found in what was determined to be the 36th largest oil field in the state of California. Abe and Hobson brothers were also one of the largest stockholders in the building fund for the Masonic Temple, which stands at the corner of Santa Clara and California, and currently houses the Ventura Visitors Bureau. Interestingly, the Masonic Temple is built on the same site as the Ventura House Hotel, where Abe's father, W.D., lived out the remainder of his years once Isabel had passed away. Sadly, and very unexpectedly, Abe himself passed away on March 7th of that same year, 1929. The values instilled by W.D. and Isabel will continue to remain clear in their descendants and will be demonstrated time and time again. These dynamic families share the view that philanthropy and community involvement bring joy and prosperity. Together, they are business partners as well as tightly knit family members. Join us as we continue to explore the legacy of the extraordinary generations of the Hobson family. The Museum of Ventura County's Bridge Builder Award celebrates the accomplishments of leaders who have made significant impact on the region, those who have changed the fabric of our community, creating a new and better future. In 2020 and 2021, the Museum of Ventura County honors the extended families and descendants of Isabel Winemiller and William Dewey Hobson. In this video series, MVC celebrates the accomplishments of this incredible family, now in its 7th generation.